Welcome all. In this video, we will see the next topic of Module 4. This is the last topic under Module 4, that is IC 555 timer. So it is an IC or integrated circuit known as 555 timer. So timer IC used for producing certain pulses or delay signals. So 555 timer is a popular monolithic integrated circuit. So monolithic means in a single silicon wafer we are producing that IC. Much detail is not required for you. So monolithic means in a single silicon wafer we will be producing that particular IC. So 555 timer is a monolithic integrated circuit and it is used for generating time delay and pulses whose frequency and duration can be determined by an externally connected resistor and capacitor. So it is a 555 timer is an IC which is used to produce certain time delays or some pulses, square pulses or something like that, whose frequency and duration can be determined by the externally connected resistor and capacitor. So this IC is a 8-pin IC. This 555 timer is a 8-pin IC. So this is a pin diagram of a 555 timer. Here you can see there are 8 pins. Pin number 1 is ground, trigger, output, reset, control voltage, threshold, discharge and VCC. So these are the 8 pins of a 555 timer IC. So we will discuss each of these pin and what are the significance of these pins in the next section. So the pin number 8 is VCC. VCC means that is the power supply signal. In that particular pin number we will be providing the DC power supply. The DC power supply normally vary from plus 5 volt to plus 18 volt. And pin number 1 is the ground terminal. That is the terminal which provide ground for the particular circuit. And pin number 2 is known as trigger terminal. Pin number 2 is trigger terminal and the details of that will be seen through the internal structure of this pin diagram. So next I will be explaining about the internal details of this 555 timer. Inside that what all things are there. So through that we will explain the remaining pins. So this figure shows the internal details of the 555 timer IC. One second. So you can see here, this is the internal diagram of 555 timer. So here pin number 8 I already explained. Pin number 8 is VCC, pin number 1 is ground. And pin number 2, you can see here, pin number 2 is this one, that is trigger. So inside the 555 timer you can see two comparator circuit. We have studied comparator circuit previously. We have two comparator circuit. What is comparator? It will compare the two inputs of the operational circuit. That means we have a non-inverting and inverting terminal. It will compare the non-inverting terminal signal with the inverting terminal signal. If the inverting is greater than non-inverting, output will be low or 0, and if the non-inverting is greater than inverting, output will be high. So the internal details consist of two comparator. We will be explaining it as upper comparator and lower comparator. So the input of this lower comparator, at the inverting input we have the trigger signal. At the non-inverting terminal it's marked as 1/3 VCC. Why it is so? That will be explained through this resistor network. You can see here VCC, after that one resistor, second resistor and third resistor. They are equal valued resistors. 3 resistors, 1, 2 and 3. They are equal valued resistors of 5 kilo ohm, and here we have VCC. So a equal resistive network, right? So here the voltage available will be VCC into 2R divided by 3R, isn't it? Potential divider network. So the value here will be VCC into, how many resistors are here equal means R plus R is 2R. VCC divided by 2R divided by 3R. So R will get cancelled. So the value available here is 2/3 VCC. And what is the value available here? That is given by VCC into R divided by 3R. So it is 1/3 VCC. So you can see here this value is 2/3 VCC and this value is 1/3 VCC. So the trigger is the input of the lower comparator, inverting input of the lower comparator. The other is 1/3 VCC. So here it's telling that trigger terminal, pin number 2 is the trigger terminal. So if the voltage at the terminal is greater than 1/3 VCC, if this is greater than 1/3 VCC means inverting terminal have greater value. So the output will be low. If the trigger terminal, voltage at the trigger terminal is greater than 1/3 VCC, the output is low. If the voltage is less than 1/3 VCC, the output is high. Isn't it? The comparator, if the non-inverting is greater, output is high. If the inverting is greater, output is low. So it tells that if trigger value, if it is greater than 1/3 VCC, output is low. If it is less than 1/3 VCC, output is high. That is telling here. Next is pin number 1, 2, 3. Pin number 3 is the output terminal. The output will be either high or low. So it can be either high or low. So we will getting pulses like this at the output. Okay. Next is pin number 4. Pin number 4 is given here. Pin number 4 is reset pin. So normally if it is not using, it is connected with the VCC. Normally if you are not using that, it will be connected to VCC. And otherwise, if you are supplying a low, normally see here, when reset is not used, it is connected to VCC. And if the timer has to be reset, if you have the function is over or something in between, if we want to off the timer, then we have to supply a low to the pin number 4. If we are giving low means we have to give a 0 value to the pin number 4, then the circuit will get reset. Okay, next is pin number 5. Pin number 5 is control input. Pin number 5 is known as control input. You can see here, this is pin number 5. Pin number 5 is control input. Pin number 5 is control input. So it is that saying that an external voltage applied at the pin changes the threshold value, which is 2/3 VCC. So you can see here the pin number 5 is having a value of 2/3 VCC, right? It's having a value of 2/3 VCC. Here if we are giving any external value, external voltage, this threshold value of 2/3 can be changed. If we want to change this threshold value 2/3 VCC, we can apply any input voltage through a capacitor or anything to the pin number 5. Okay, so an external voltage applied at this pin, the threshold value changes threshold value, that is now previously 2/3 VCC. Next is pin number 6. Pin number 6 is threshold. That can be explained same as the trigger. So it says that pin number 6, this is a non-inverting input. What is the pin number 6? It is a non-inverting input of the upper comparator, which voltage at this pin is equal or greater than 2/3. If the voltage at this pin, okay, at the voltage at pin number 6 is greater than 2/3 VCC, the output is high. If it is less than 2/3 VCC, the output is low. So it says that this is the non-inverting terminal of the upper comparator. If the voltage is greater than 2/3 VCC, output goes high when it is switches, which in turn switches the output of the timer low. That will be explained later. So that is the one input, non-inverting input of the upper comparator. Next is pin number 7, that is discharge. Pin number 7, that is discharge terminal. It allows discharging timing capacitor through timing resistor. So this is discharge terminal, which will allows the externally connected capacitor to discharge through the resistor, externally connected resistor. Last one is pin number 8, that we already told, that is power supply terminal VCC. Pin number 8 is power supply terminal VCC. Next we will explain one application of 555 timer, that is 555 timer is used as a oscillator. It's used as a multi-vibrator or free running oscillator. It's also known as free running oscillator. So there are many types of multi-vibrators like monostable, astable and bistable. Astable means there is no stable state. It's not like the output won't stay in a particular stable state. It should be always high or it should be always low. Like that, a stable state won't be there. As it is astable, it will be going to high state, then it will go to low state. That is known as astable multivibrator. The other one is monostable. Monostable means it have a single, mono means single stable state, either a high or a low. Like that one, a single stable state will be there. And the third one is bistable. Bistable means it has two stable states, a high state and a low state. So those all things will be studied in the higher classes. So for you, what is required is a stable multivibrator or a free running oscillator. So as the name indicates, its output will have two states, but it is not stable. It will be continuously changing. So this is the circuit diagram of a stable multivibrator. So we have a 555 timer. We have a 555 timer with all the 8 pins. So external to that, we have connected certain components. So you can see here pin number 5 and pin number 1 is connected together through a resistor, through a capacitor 0.01 microfarad. Pin number 3 is output. Pin number 4, which is reset pin, is connected to pin number 8, that is our VCC. And pin number 7 is the discharge terminal, and 2 and 6 are connected together. And through externally we have a resistor R1, R2 and the discharge capacitor C. So R1 and R2 are the timing resistors and C is the timing capacitor. So these are the externally connected things. So you have to study this circuit diagram. Now the explanation of this particular stable multivibrator is given through the internal structure. So now once again we are considering the internal structure of a 555 timer with the externally connected timing resistors and capacitors. So we will see it. So you can see here, this is the circuit for a stable multivibrator. So here the dotted block is there, right? Inside that, what can be seen is the inside of this 555 timer. It's IC. Outside, what and all we are connected externally, that is R1 resistor, R2 resistor, C. Those all things are seen here, R1, R2 and C, and this resistor 0.01 microfarad connected between 5 and ground. You can see here at the point 5 and 1, pin number 1 is ground, we have the resistance, we have the capacitor 0.01 microfarad. So remaining all the things we have seen in the internal IC detail. So the externally connected R1, R2, C and the capacitor 0.01 is extra marked. And you can see here pin number 4 and 8 is connected together. 4 and 8 is connected together. And here pin number 2 and 6 connected together. 2 and 6 connected together. And to pin number 7 we have the resistor network and capacitor network C1, R1 and R2 is connected. So this circuit also we need to study. So using this circuit diagram we are going to explain the working of a stable multivibrator. So see here, so here in the circuit, resistors R1 and R2, are timing resistors and capacitor C is timing capacitor. So now speaking about the working of the circuit, when the VCC is switched on, power supply VCC is switched on, the external timing capacitor start charging. This capacitor start charging to this VCC. It will start charging towards VCC through the resistors R2 and R1. So when VCC is applied, the capacitor start charging towards VCC through the resistors R2 and R1. When VCC is switched on, the external timing capacitor charges towards VCC through R1 and R2. That is the particular time constant during this time. T1 is equal to two resistors in series R1 plus R2 into C. This is the time constant during charging time. So T1 is equal to R1 plus R2 into C. During this time, output at pin number 3 is high. during this time the output will be high. How can we tell that it is high? So see here, the capacitor start charging. Now initially the capacitor charge was 0. It start charging. Once it reaches 1 by 3 VCC, what will happen? Once it reaches 1 by 3 VCC, you can see here this particular point. Pin number 2 will be 1 by 3 VCC. Okay, so that means it crossed 1 by 3 VCC. Once it crosses 1 by 3 VCC, inverting terminal is having more value than non-inverting. Non-inverting is fixed with 1 by 3. Pin number 2 reaches 1 by 3 and started crossing 1 by 3. That means here the operation amplifier inverting terminal is greater than non-inverting, so the output is low. Output will be 0. What about the upper comparator? Upper comparator, inverting terminal is 2 by 3 VCC, right? Inverting terminal is 2 by 3 VCC. So we can see here, 1 second. Okay, once again I'll explain it once again. When the VCC is turned on, the capacitor C starts charging. So the capacitor starts charging from 0 to 1 by 3 VCC. So in this duration, in between these two duration, what will happen? Here the value at this terminal 2, once before it reaching 1 by 3 VCC, the value at the inverting terminal is low and non-inverting is 1 by 3 VCC. So the output will be high because non-inverting is 1 by 3. It not yet reached 1 by 3. It's between 0 and 1 by 3 VCC. This capacitor charge VC is between 0 and 1 by 3 VCC. That time the lower comparator will have an output 1. Upper comparator, since the non-inverting is lower than that value by 2 by 3 VCC and non-inverting is less, output is 0. So you can see here one thing like flip-flop. Details of flip-flop we will study in the module 5. So this is a SR flip-flop. So SR flip-flop is having a value like if S is for set, R is for reset. If S is 0 and R is 1, output is equal to 0. If S is 1 and R is 0, output is equal to 1. What is there in the set? That will be the output. Okay, if set is 0, output is 0. If set is 1, output is 1. This output is given by Q. What is Q bar? Q bar means inverted version of that. So if it is 0, this is 1. If it is 1, this is 0. That means Q and Q bar. It's inversion. Q if it is 0, Q bar is 1. If Q it is 1, Q bar is 0. So in this particular case, here the output of the lower comparator is high and output of the upper comparator is 0. That means R is 0, S is 1. So Q will be 1, R is 0, S is 1. So Q is 1, our Q bar is equal to 0. Q is 1, Q bar is equal to 0. That 0 is reaching to this amplifier. That is a power amplifier in the inverted mode, right? So this 0 is reaching at the input of the power amplifier. It will be inverted, so the output is high. So under this range 0 to 1 by 3 VCC of the capacitor charging, the output of the 555 timer is high. So see here, R is equal to 0, S is equal to 1, Q bar is equal to 0. So at the pin number 3 we have very high output, that is VCC. So if you are drawing the figure, the capacitor start charging when it reaches to 1 by 3 VCC. The output will become high. Output of the multivibrator will become high. Okay, next. Now 0 to 1 by 3 VCC we have explained. When the capacitor VC tries to become just greater than 2 by 3 VCC. When it become 2 by 3 VCC, what will happen? When this capacitor starts becoming 2 by 3 VCC, after this, when it's become 2 by 3 VCC, here the pin number 2 will be 2 by 3 VCC. That means inverting is greater value, so the output will be 0. Here it will be greater than 2 by 3 VCC means output will become 1. So that means just opposite condition. Set is 0, reset is 1, so the output is 0. Set is 0, reset is 1, so the output is 0. So Q is 0, Q bar is 1, that 1 will go here. So 1 will go here, the output will be 0, output will be low. So when the capacitor reaches 2 by 3 VCC, when it reaches 2 by 3 VCC, the output will become low, output will become low. Under that condition, one more thing will happen. So here output will become 0, that means here it is 1. So this Q1 transistor will turn on. When it becoming 1 here, this Q1 transistor will turn on. When it is turned on, it will act as a short circuit. So the capacitor will get a path through resistor R2 for discharging. When this capacitor is turning on, when this resistor is turning on, it will act as a closed loop. It will act as a short circuit. So this capacitor will get a path through R2 to the ground for discharging. So capacitor charges to VCC through R1, R2, and capacitor discharges through R2 to ground. So whenever the Q bar becomes 1, this transistor will turn on, it will act as a short circuit, so the capacitor will get a path for discharging. So the capacitor will charges from 1 by 3 VCC to 2 by 3 VCC. When it reaches 2 by 3 VCC, it will get a path for discharging, so it will discharge. It will discharge to 1 by 3 VCC, then again it will charge. So like this the phenomena continues. So you can see here, when the capacitor VC tries to become greater than 2 by 3 VCC, upper comparator output has high, that is R1 is equal to 1, R is equal to 1 and S is equal to 0, which makes a flip-flop's output Q as 1. So the output is low, final output is low. Here it is 1. So which in turn makes the transistor Q1 to on, and the capacitor C starts discharging towards ground through R2. So discharging time constant T2 is equal to R2 into C. It consists of the path R2 into C. Okay, so during discharge time, capacitor C as VC becomes less than VC by 3. So discharging means it became 2 by 3 and starts discharging. So it becomes less than VCC by 3. Okay, when it becomes VCC by 3, less than VCC by 3, what will happen? When it becomes less than VCC by 3, here this is less, so the output of the lower comparator become high. When it is reduced below 1 by 3 VCC, this will become 1 and this will become 0, R is equal to 0. So the output Q is equal to 1, Q bar is equal to 0, which in turn off the device. Okay, and there is no discharging path. Again the capacitor will start charging. So you can see here, during the discharge time, the capacitor C as VC becomes less than 1 by 3 VCC, the output of the lower comparator become high. So S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0, which makes flip-flop's output Q bar is equal to 0 and output again become high. So thus the capacitor periodically charges and discharges between 2 by 3 VCC and 1 by 3 VCC. So here comes the waveform. You can see here, capacitor charges between 1 by 3 VCC and 2 by 3 VCC. Again 1 by 3 VCC, 2 by 3 VCC. So when it is charging, the output will be high. When it is discharging, output is low. High, low. So this is the voltage across the capacitor VC and final voltage of the 555 timer. So you can see here, there is no stable state. It's continuously changing. So it's a this multivibrator is an astable type or astable multivibrator, also known as free running oscillator. Next we will see the time frequency of the signal and the timing constants. So you can see here, T high means the time period over which the output voltage is in high state. High state means on state. T high is nothing but 0.693 R1 plus R2 into C. Just study this equation, no need of the derivation. So T high is equal to 0.693 into R1 plus R2 into C. During high, charging is taking place, and T low is equal to 0.693 R2C. Discharging is through the resistance R2 and C, right? So T low is 0.693 R2 into C. So what is the total time period? Total time period T is equal to T high plus T low, that is 0.693 into R1 plus 2 R2C. We have one more term known as duty cycle. Duty cycle means if it is a square wave, the duty cycle is 50%, equally splitted, right? That is known as duty cycle. So here the duty cycle is found out by T high by T total time period. The time duration for which the output is remaining in high state divided by total time period. So T high by T. T is nothing but T high plus T low. Substituting all the values and cancelling the common terms, we will get it as R1 plus R2 divided by R1 plus 2R2 into 100%. Duty cycle will be explained in percentage. So R1 plus R2 divided by R1 plus 2R2 into 100%. Next is frequency of the output waveform. Frequency of VO. Frequency is nothing but 1 by time period. We know frequency and time are inversely proportional. So frequency is equal to 1 by T, and we have the T is equal to 0.693 R1 plus 2 R2 into C. So frequency is 1 by that value, that is getting as 1 by 0.693 means it is 1.44. 1.44 divided by R1 plus 2 R2 into C. So this is the frequency of this output waveform of a stable multi-vibrator. So this much about 555 timer as a stable multi-vibrator or free running oscillator. So hereby we are completing the module 4. Under module 4 we studied amplifier, transistor as an amplifier, switch, then we studied feedback amplifier, after that oscillator, and the last part is 555 timer. Thank you.